All right, let's jump right in. You hear these two words all the time, right? Real estate and estate. They sound almost identical, and people use them so interchangeably, but they mean totally different things. It's a super common mix-up, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll get the difference no problem.
So, what is the deal here? Is your house part of your real estate or your estate? Or is it somehow both? Let's dive in and get this all cleared up. We'll start with the one you probably hear about most often.
First up, real estate. You know, when it comes right down to it, this term is all about the tangible stuff, the physical property you can actually see, touch, and, well, stand on.
The actual definition is pretty straightforward, actually. Real estate is just the land itself, plus any permanent stuff attached to it, like a building, and even the natural resources that are part of that land. It's really the physical foundation of what we think of as property.
So, to make that even clearer, just think of it in these three layers. First, you've got the actual plot of land, the ground. On top of that, you have any buildings or improvements, a house, a garage, a fence, whatever. And then you've also got the natural resources that come with it, like water rights or maybe mineral deposits. All three of those things together, that's real estate.
And generally, we split real estate into two big worlds. You've got residential, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's where people live. Think homes, condos, apartments. And then there's commercial, which is where business gets done. Office buildings, retail stores, warehouses. They work very differently, but at their core, they're both about land and buildings.
But here's the thing. Real estate isn't just the physical property. It's this whole system, this whole ecosystem that's built around buying, selling, and managing it all. Let's take a look at that.
You know, every piece of real estate kind of goes on a journey. It starts with development. Somebody buys a piece of land and builds something. Then comes the transaction phase. You know, the buying and selling, with agents and banks making it all happen. And finally, you get to ownership, whether that's for your own use or as an investment that someone manages.
And this whole journey is powered by a whole cast of characters. You've got the agents and brokers, of course, connecting buyers and sellers. You've got the lenders providing the cash. You've got investors looking for a return, and property managers keeping the lights on. And kind of hanging over all of it, you've got market conditions, that constant push and pull of supply and demand that decides what a property is worth.
All right, so I think we've got a pretty good handle on real estate. Now it's time to pivot and tackle the other side of this mystery, the word estate, which is, well, a lot more abstract.
Now, when you hear the word estate, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably some huge country manor, a giant mansion with gates and everything. And look, you're not wrong. That is definitely one way we use the word, but that's the informal, kind of pop culture meaning. The legal and financial definitions are way, way broader.
And that's really the most important thing to get here. The word estate is like a chameleon. It completely changes its meaning depending on the context. It's not just one thing.
So let's look at the three main situations where you're going to hear the formal official definition of estate.
First up, and this is probably the most common one, is in estate planning. In this context, your estate is the grand total of everything you own. We're talking your house, your car, your savings, your investments, even your furniture. It's the total sum of all your assets minus your debts, your entire financial footprint.
And logically, right after that, you get the estate tax. This is a tax that's put on that total value we just talked about, the entire collection of a person's assets after they pass away, but before anything gets handed out to their heirs.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, because this is where the two terms finally connect. In land law, an estate isn't the physical property itself. Instead, it's the kind of ownership rights you have to that property. Think of it like a subscription plan. Do you have the forever plan where you own it completely? That's called fee simple. Or do you have the one-year rental plan? That's a leasehold estate. The type of plan you have, that bundle of rights, is your estate in the land.
Okay, so we've defined both terms, we've pulled them apart. Now let's bring it all back together and see why getting this distinction right is actually so important for your own financial life.
So let's just boil it all down. Real estate is a physical thing, like your house. Your estate, on the other hand, is a financial concept. It's the total value of your house plus every other single thing you own. Real estate is about property transactions. Your estate is about legacy and financial planning for the future.
If that's still a little fuzzy, here is the absolute simplest way to remember it. Think of your real estate, your home for example, as one big, important box. But your estate, that's the entire storage unit. It holds that real estate box, plus the box for your car, the box for your savings, all the boxes that make up your financial life.
See, at the end of the day, your home sits at the intersection of both of these worlds. It's a piece of real estate, and you want to maximize its value through smart decisions. But it's also a cornerstone of your estate,
a huge asset that needs to be planned for carefully so it can be passed on smoothly. Understanding that duality is everything. You're not just managing a property, you're managing a legacy. So the real question to ask yourself is this: are the plans you have for your property today lined up with the vision you have for all your assets tomorrow?